Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the WRC Creator Series. It's another season, which means more rally antics for a lot of our creators here this afternoon. I can confirm we've got your usual lineup of Chaos, Calamity, and Catastrophe, but in the commentary box, it's pretty much the same thing. My name's Tom Knight, and alongside me is the wonderful John Isamusing Harris. John, how are you?
Doing all right, doing all right. It's going to be interesting to see the drivers take on an unknown location. Be interesting to see who's practiced, who hasn't. I'm sure there are people that have, but yeah, this one's going to be an unknown question mark.
I think it certainly will. See, we're heading to Rally Latvia this afternoon, if you aren't keeping up with our calendar, and that is a completely new stage in the WRC game. It came within the 2024 expansion. If I'm correct in saying that, I'm fairly sure I am. So it is a massive unknown for a lot of our drivers. They won't have had too much time to practice, but I have a feeling most of them probably will have tried to sneak in a few stages.
Yes, indeed. Even if they did practice a little bit, though, they will be thrown off by the weather conditions, which is winter conditions with some snow on the ground. So time trial times suddenly don't mean anything actually. So be interesting to see who adapts, and the weather, especially towards the end of the rally, is very, very tricky with some fog and snow. So who knows? Well, we might see loads of crashes. We might see not so many crashes. I'm guessing there'll be quite a few. So stay tuned.
I have a feeling there probably will be, and you know what? If people can't see where they're going, they have no idea what they're about to crash into. And we already have drivers out on the circuit, and Punju, for some reason, has a crown on.
Look, he's wanting to be crowned champion once again, it seems, or crowned king of the crashing into trees, one or the other. He will decide that, I think, mid-season, but the crown on the head, the unusual panache, let's call it.
Yep, certainly going to be crowned king of the trees, regardless of what happens. I think we can make that jurisdiction here in the commentary box. We have got a slightly new face to the WRC broadcast. I think you would have seen him last time out in the special event, if memory serves me correctly. But Hayden Gullis on your screen partaking in some rally this afternoon.
Yes, indeed. And Hayden has already given the game a little bit of a try before, and let's put it this way, it was spectacular, but he actually surprised me in terms of the pace and consistency. He looked to be able to bring across his skills from the Formula 1 game onto the rally game quite easily. So maybe these cars with high traction levels and quite good downforce might suit him, actually.
Yeah, I think also one thing to point out, the new Toyota GR Yaris, or not new Toyota GR Yaris, but the Toyota GR Yaris. Wow, try saying that quickly 3 times in a row. It seems to be the favourite pick amongst most of our racers here this afternoon. Jam, ONG, and Riff Blondie on your screens at the moment. Both of those choosing the Toyota as well. And now, just talking through the technical aspects of the car, is there a reason they're being favoured?
I think it's just because it's new. It's part of the update. It's a new car for 2024. Its official debut was at Rally Monte Carlo, but it was trialed at Rally Japan last year as well. But it's quite a good car on gravel. Quite a dynamic sort of driving style, I guess. And yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they apply the setup and all that, because it can be quite snap oversteery, and it's quite light feeling compared to the other WRC2 cars. But in essence, there's not really that major difference. It's still going to be down to the driver, maybe a couple of tenths of a second here and there. But the main thing is 300 brake horsepower, and you can really put the pedal to the metal on these straights. And Latvia has quite a lot of them.
It certainly does. We were fortunate enough to get a bit of a preview of some of these stages when we went to a little festival a while ago, and I won't go too much into that, but it was very nice to see what was upcoming and what was about to come out. And I think, if I'm right, I might be completely wrong on this, we managed to get a run on Latvia. Am I right on this?
We managed to get a run on Latvia in the last live stream that we did for the update. Yes, we did. We did 6 stages of Poland, 6 stages of Latvia, and I can tell you, there was crashes left, right, and centre. So hopefully the drivers are not going to do that from stage 1. It's looking like they're taking it quite calm today. 13 stages on this rally, so they've got a long way to go.
Yeah, a long way indeed. And what is quite nice about having a lot of stages is that quite often quick fire stages, they don't have to worry necessarily too much about keeping that concentration for elongated lengths of time, like we see in some of the other rallies, where you can be going for maybe 15-20 minutes if you're having a bad day, whereas these all are going to be around 5-10 minute blasts in each of the stages. I think that's really going to help with the overall concentration levels. Punchy and Hayden Gullis back on our screens at the moment, both of them making their way through nice and calmly, and Hayden's actually very, very focused. You know, he's taking it seriously when that man has his glasses on.
Indeed, yeah, the focus, you can see the concentration in their faces. Having the very heavy snowfall on the screen is very distracting, and sometimes you can't even see the road. Just want to point out, this is the longest stage, or one of the longest stages that we're going to see tonight. It's 16 kilometers, so probably about 9 minutes, something like that, unless Hayden goes straight into a tree, which unfortunately he has. There we go, first jinx of the day, good stuff.
Well, it's always good to get one out of the way on the first stage, and I think the expression on that man's face says everything you need to know about it. And as you said, yeah, longest stage here, and actually stage 13 as well, both of those being 16.3 kilometers. We start at dawn, we head through the day, and we end stage 7 at night time. So we have a really nice cycle over all of the times of day and all over the weather conditions as well. Vembar just waiting to get going. Kamikaze with a new head-on camera for himself, so maybe a new setup for the EXR driver. And at the moment, that man is looking very, very fast already.
Yeah, I'm sure Kamikaze wants to make amends for what was a disappointing last season. He couldn't participate in a few of the rounds. I think he was off with an illness or something. So he'll be looking to be in the title fight this season. It'll be interesting to see whether he can match the likes of Lembar and a few other drivers that are very, very quick on every single location. And from what I can see from Kamikaze, he is very, very focused right now. He is in the what I like to call the esports camera, and so he is taking this very, very seriously. Sent me a few practice times from time trial, and he was top of the leaderboard by quite a few seconds, so he's taking this one absolutely 110%. As we've got our first finisher of the day with Hayden Gullis completing stage 1. I would say unscathed, but maybe not quite.
He was just making sure the trees were solid enough. 400th and 57th place there for Mr. Gullis on the opening stage leaderboard for himself. Like I said, just making sure the trees were intact, making sure they were feeling okay for this rally. It's always good to make sure that you check in on the architecture for this afternoon. Kamikaze, and a new guest that we have, not a new guest, a new contender, shall I say, on the WRC broadcast here. We've got Phil61 taking into the virtual rally seat, and I think we don't need to say much about him if any of his followers are in chat. That man is absolutely rapid.
Yeah, it's lovely to see new people coming and showing off their skills, trying to be the best of the best in the Creator Series. And yeah, looking at the driving already, as RC JPH has gone for a huge barrel roll, and that will not be a good start, and he's not looking impressed on his face cam there. That's not exactly what you want, especially only a few sectors into the long stage there, so if he's got any puncture or damage, he's going to feel that throughout the whole stage. As Punju completes the stage, very unusual spin there, almost as if he had a puncture. I'm not quite sure what happened there. Maybe just panic braking, trying to get the car stopped. No, he's definitely got a puncture there.
I think he certainly has an issue with that car. He can't seem to get it pointing in the correct direction, no matter what sort of input he seems to put in it. He is meters away from getting through that at the moment. But I just want to throw it back to chat real quick. IRC Bruce came in chat saying they were supporting JPH unless he crashes, and I think he's open to suggestions now. So put your suggestions in chat of who Bruce should now support after that beautiful little bit of a roll from JPH.
Yeah, it can be so difficult on a fast gravel rally like this. You've only got to miss your line by a couple of centimeters, and it can send you a half a meter wide from the apex. So very tricky. Let's see if Punju has a problem. I'm looking at the car there. Yeah, he's definitely got a front right puncture. Let's just confirm that. Yes, indeed, confirmed front right puncture, sadly, or at least something going on. I couldn't quite see because the lights were very dazzling right there. But indeed, only 38 seconds off, though, so actually not bad at all.
Yeah, very respectable stage time there from Punj. I'm going to have to get my mind back into the WRC runs. We're hearing word from Race Control as well. Hayden assumed that was his shakedown run, hence why he was a little bit slow off the marks. He was told to drive slowly by a few of our creators, hence why he did so for the first 3 sectors, and then realised he should probably put his foot to the floor.
Yeah, losing 3 minutes is driving cautiously, that's for sure. This isn't my summer car. You've got to actually push pedal to the metal And thankfully, if you do break the car, it's not you repairing it, it's the mechanics fixing it, so you don't have to worry about that. So 110% flat out.
Yep, Aiden, you've heard it here. Don't let off that throttle for the next 12 stages and you'll be absolutely fine. Nothing bad can happen to you.
Yeah, what could possibly go wrong? Actually, that's a very good technique to use the throttle and brake on fast gravel rallies at the same time. Something that circuit racers cannot understand when I've tried to explain it to them, because it's such a bizarre technique. It doesn't work in circuit racing or on any tarmac, basically, with any type of car. But in rally, you can stabilize the car, especially on very loose gravel like this and very wet or snowy gravel. Just tapping the brakes while on throttle, just make sure that the car doesn't oversteer or do anything weird.
I'm guessing, and I'm no physicist or I don't know what the term would be for it, an engineer essentially. I'm guessing that kind of puts the weight transfer of the car to the front, allows the front tyres to grip up while still accelerating. I think that's probably the physics there.
It's well, the understanding that I have of it from the driver's perspective is that it stops the tires from wheel spinning effectively. If you apply 10 to 20% brake, it's almost as if you've got the sort of the handbrake on a tiny bit. The car is just reluctant to go as fast, but essentially because the brakes are on, the car is always driving square basically and not sliding. And so, obviously in real life you don't want to do it too much because you will wear the brakes out or overheat the brakes after a prolonged period. But essentially, it's a very good technique for gaining stability, especially as a novice driver in this type of rally. So you can end up just gaining multiple seconds via that technique, just because you're not driving off the road basically. And the fastest drivers use it to the same extent, but to go even faster, to make sure that the car is always on the right line, to make sure that they can correct the car and make sure that they can sort of get through the stage with the least amount of problems.
That's really interesting to know. And just before we switched across, I have no idea how Ancephalosis was seeing anything out of the front of the car. The snow and the rain was absolutely pelting his windscreen. And now, I believe we're on to stage 2 with Punyu and Riff Blondie, and the fog has started to descend on us here in Latvia. And if we thought driving in stage 1 was going to be difficult, I have a feeling they're in for a whole different kettle of fish here.
Yeah, indeed they are. So yeah, the winter periods in the Balkans, Baltics, it really doesn't pardon anybody effectively. You can see the conditions terrible, and the roads will be just turning to mud. Just want to point out that XR Kamikaze has completed stage 1 as Riff Blondie goes for a huge tank slapper there. I think she clipped the rear on the bank there. The stage is there somewhere, I swear, but she's stuck in the ditch and cannot get out of it. There we go.
Yeah,
back
just
off the road.
Oh, sorry. Go.
No worries. I was also just going to point out at the same breath there that EXR Kamikaze completes stage 1 in first place by 3.8 seconds.
Ah, who would have thought that? Kamikaze back to the top of the leaderboards. Well, it's almost as if we're back to almost normality, reality essentially as well. Hayden making his way through the fog on your screens at the moment, and I have no idea how these drivers are seeing where they're going. Even on our broadcast screen, even from what we're seeing from the drivers, I have no idea where that road is going.
Well, you've got to trust your pace notes effectively in this one, and that's where the technique there of holding the brakes a little bit can come into its own, basically, because it allows you to rotate the car to change direction very, very rapidly, especially if you use it with the handbrake. So in a situation where you're not quite sure where the road goes, just holding the brakes maybe 2 to 5% mid-corner can just allow you to just, if there's, for example, a hairpin, to just go straight into it rather than have to brake, get the weight transfer going, as you said previously.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see how our drivers are doing it. And Rick Blondie was not even on 2 wheels there for about half a second. She was definitely on the side of her car, just skating along the ice and snow that was left on that gravel and tarmac. Jam and Phil join us at the bottom of our screens at the moment. And that is Jam off into the trees.
Yeah, indeed. It was very well attempted, but he just clipped the rear wheel on the bank, and then he was a passenger. Interestingly enough, I think most people are driving with their headlights off, because in fog, the headlights on can just create a blinding effect right in front of you. So I think most of our drivers here opting to go without the headlights, which is a strategy they use in real life as well. So yeah, just adapting real techniques. And for Riff Blondie, I'm aware that the Toyota is a new car, but maybe not a hover car quite yet.
I think she was hoping that it quite possibly be, and just going back to what you said about driving with the headlights off, I quite often do that in my real car. I'm only joking, please don't arrest me for driving without headlights, but especially in the fog, it can be a real tricky one. Blondie through the chicane of barrels out. Hayden approaches almost this very similar spot and finds himself just running off into the ditches at the side. He's a little bit further through the stage than Blondie is, but at the moment he's about to go over a jump, which is surely going to be a little bit blind, just a little bit of a jump over. Tight left incoming for him. Where's he going to brake? Can he see the turn?
The answer is no, but thankfully there's arrows to indicate that there is a turn there. Meanwhile, just off of our cameras, Jamo and Gia's had a very topsy-turvy moment, going onto his roof and rolling, I think, twice. So that car quite second-hand at this point. But be interesting to see which drivers can keep their car in a good condition, because on a fast rally like this, aerodynamics matter, and even though it's the Rally 2 cars, they still have quite a bit of aerodynamics with front splitter, rear wing, etc. And so keeping a car in tip-top shape is actually a very big performance benefit if you can do that.
It's fine. They'll have it on Auto Trader later with the description. One previous owner, barely driven at all, and I'm sure someone will
used.
Get it up. Yeah, exactly. Never used, hardly ever used, and things like that. Hayden Gullis finishing off stage 2 there for himself, 286th place to add to his title. I reckon it's about time if we get him in for a little bit of a chat, see how his first competitive ranked rally experience is going. Hayden, welcome in, and how's it going?
Well, I mean, I may have made a big blunder at the start. I thought I was doing a shakedown because that's what Punchy told me to do, and he was like, make sure you take it as slowly as possible. You don't want to get tire wear. So there I am, just nice Sunday drive in Latvia, taking it nice and slow. And I'm on like sector 3. Like, am I going to get this done in time? They're like, what do you mean you're on sector 3? I'm like, I'm on sector 3. And they're like, you're in the actual stage, not in a shakedown. I was like, oh, should I come back and redo it? They were like, no, it's too late. You got to carry on. So I'm like, okay, great. I guess I'm 3 minutes down already before I've even started. And then it's snowing and I can't see anything. Yeah, this is a baptism of fire, but it's fun. I'm enjoying it.
TK, shall I make his life a little bit more miserable as well?
I think you should.
Yeah, so TK, because you didn't Hayden, because you didn't do the shakedown, you're missing a set of tires as well. So if you do the shakedown, you get an extra set of tires. So it looks like you'll be doing the whole rally on 2 sets of tires. What's your thoughts about that?
I'll be honest, with my pace, I don't think it's going to make much of a difference. If I'm completely honest with you, I think I'm going slow enough that I can make my tires last. I don't even think they're going to wear that much with my pace, so I don't think it's an issue.
I might just add one more thing in as well.
Don't make my life worse even more.
It's going to be nighttime in a few stages, so you'll have snow, fog, nighttime, and no tires.
All right, it's been fun, guys. I'll see you later. Bye. Have a nice day. Thank you.
Yeah, baptism by fire is definitely.
Bye. Enjoy the show, everyone. Bye.
Well, yeah, we've got our first DNF of the season. It appears like, and the car is already in good hands. As the driver is abandoned.
I'm just giggling in the background there because that is probably even my reaction when I heard it's going to be snowy, foggy, rainy, and nighttime all at the same time, and quite possibly the most baptism of fire that you could get. Well, we're going to go from one extreme potentially to another, see if we can get Jam in before he runs off for stage number 3. Jam, welcome in for stage number 4. How's it been going? Oh, stage 4, season number 4. How's it been going?
Season 4, yes. It's been great. Thank you. It's a wild weather stage. It's crazy.
So how have you been enjoying it? I know you've been on your roof a few times, but is the confidence there?
Yeah, pretty much. Like I actually did. There were some points where I misjudged. That's why you saw me on the roof a little bit, because I misjudged some bumps on the side and I thought I can just cut through it, but it became a ramp. But other than that, the car feels pretty good. I spent some time last week to learn how to tune. So this is my first tune that I did myself. So
the results could be better. Yes, understood. TK, maybe you got another question.
I was going to kind of go along with the elements of tuning and the things that you want to change heading into the next few stages. Obviously, it doesn't look like the weather's going to improve necessarily, but you will have different elements. Obviously, the darkness will be rolling in, shall we say.
That's right. Funny thing is, I actually opted out to not repair my lights this time, so I don't know if that's a bad idea because I did not check the times. But
I think you're safe.
I think I might be safe for this next two, and then
Yeah.
I might have to repair it next.
Yeah, you'll need
Assuming
it
I
for
don't
stage
break
5 and
anything
6.
else by then.
Fingers crossed for you. And
Yeah,
well, you've got two kind of short stages. Well, I say two sort. You've got one short stage and then another 16.3 kilometer stage to go as we head into 3 and 4. So we'll wish you the best of luck and hopefully see you on the flip side.
Got him. All right.
That has to be the best pun I've ever heard. Good. Congratulations on that one. I'll give that a 10 out of 10.
Drink it in, ladies and gentlemen. This is the entertainment you come for. You get bad puns and good rally.
Yeah, good rally indeed. As we see RSC JPH just tackling the end of stage 2, I think, and looks like that car is in not the best condition, as I can definitely see an air intake right there.
Yeah, I think there might be a bonnet missing or something missing from that car because it's, let's say, less aerodynamically stable than we normally see for the Toyotas.
Yeah, and definitely, if the Toyota mechanics are trying to get the car newly out of the factory, the last thing they want is everybody crashing it in the first place. But there you go. Oh, I see. Right. Well, he's still driving half a car. I think he's missing both doors, the front bonnet and the rear. Well, everything at this point.
We'll just call it weight reduction and move on because that is still a very quick time within the top 80.
It is. And, you know, ironically, losing that rear spoiler can actually sometimes benefit the car sometimes because you can, in certain circumstances, get a higher top speed. Obviously, in fast corners, you're going to suffer a little bit. But if at any point you'd been suffering from understeer, your problem's just been solved.
Very, very true. I wonder if we'll be able to pull him in a brief moment of time, see how the few stages went for himself. I think he is undeaf, and see if we can have a brief chat and a catch up with. We'll see if he undeafens or unmutes rather, and see if he wants to have a little chat with us.
Let's see.
Fingers
Drum roll.
I think we'll maybe go with no on that answer. It doesn't look like he's going to be able to come in for a brief chat. So we'll have to watch on from afar and see how the rally goes for himself.
Yes, I think he's currently grieving his car at this point. But as you can see, stage 3, the conditions are not any better. In fact, they might even be a little bit worse because, I'll be honest, I can't even see anything like past maybe 10 meters right now. Those hay bales appear out of nowhere.
Yep, hay bales, the crowd, pylons as well. They're all appearing kind of at the last possible minute for a lot of these stages at the moment. So drivers have got a lot to contend with. I'm still laughing at Punji's crown because it looks like something he's added on over the top as like an AR overlay because it doesn't look like he's sat on his head right.
Yeah, it does look like a little bit of like a technical glitch, you know, just artifacting on there.
Yeah.
I think that's just a reflection of the lighting, but yeah, indeed. I mean, if his computer can put up with that amount of like augmented reality, you know, fair play to him.
Have you seen that man's screen? That man's setup for rally is absolutely insane. So we look forward to see how his stage times go. Hayden's looking a lot more locked in now on these shorter stages. So I think he's decided to put his foot to the floor from the offset, and hopefully we'll be setting some competitive sector times over the next few stages.
Well, it can only go up from here, to be honest, for Hayden. He's kind of had what he calls baptism by fire, and, you know, he will have the opportunity in the second half, at least, of the rally to demonstrate his pace. But definitely, Punju choosing the foggy and snowy conditions has definitely thrown a lot of people off, I think.
I think it has. It's put people's, let's just say, normality out of the window. They have no idea what they're going to expect. They didn't really get the opportunity to practice for this too much because it's not a stage that's been in the game very long, as we mentioned a little bit earlier. So drivers are really having to test their intuition and how much they trust their driver with the pace notes as they go through the twists and turns. Punju just collecting a rock on the inside there as well, so he won't be too happy about that. Maybe a little bit of damage to his car, but nothing to write home about.
Yeah, the thing about these stages is that you kind of do have to take risks. There's the ditches and sort of very low banks by the sides of the stage, so kind of encourages you to go and try it and take that risk. But if you miscalculate it, by even 2%, you will just go straight over and have massive damage. Maybe we can get Punju into the comms box. Let us see. He's currently muted, but will he unmute? Is the question. There he is, I think. Hello, hello. How is it going so far? Can you see anything?
No. I'm running fog. I know all the sweats aren't, but you know what? I'm here for the realism and the fun, and it is hurting my times desperately. But that's okay. It's way more fun. It's just hilariously crazy conditions. This is probably the stupidest thing I've ever programmed in a creator series, so I'm loving this. It's very fun.
I'd argue it's equally fun for us as well, because we have no idea where you guys are going. We just see road appear and hope you turn.
That's honestly what we're doing too, if I'm going to be real with you. You're getting the driver's experience, what you're getting right there, because it is frighteningly scary. But very fun. Very fun.
I've got to commentate about the crown on your head. Is that your ambitions for this season?
No. Yeah, it's a real thing. I have a stupid channel points redemption we call Short King. I am very short, and all I do is put on a crown. The people like it, so here we are, wearing a crown. I wish this was the objectives for the championship this season, but I know Vlembar exists, so and you, John. So I've settled for third place crown at best, very bestest, and that's okay.
He plays himself down too much.
Just quickly asking for a friend, how much is that channel points redemption, and how often can I redeem it?
Often and 1,500.
Beautiful.
Write that down. Write that down.
Write that down,
Yeah, exactly. That's funny. Yeah, no, I think this stage has been really, really fun. This rally is hilarious. Looking back at the replay cam, you see when it pans out to the wide view and there's just fog. It's hilarious. You genuinely cannot see the cars. So
all you can see is a pair of headlights appearing out of nowhere.
That's about it. That's all you need anyway. Just some light, and then you pray and listen to Co-Driver. It's very good fun.
It's certainly very ominous to see. But no, well, obviously you got a few more stages to try and contend with. Nightfall is imminently coming in for you guys as well. So best of luck with those, and we'll see you on the other side.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Punji. I'm just loving the crown. I'm going to keep watching that crown all evening.
Yeah, it's definitely unique. Definitely, might even be distracting if it moves during the stage, but he's obviously not worried about that. As I just want to point out, for those of you who were paying attention to the cameras there, XR Kamikaze having a huge moment just 10 seconds ago. Hopefully no damage, but definitely a scare, that's for sure, losing a bit of time in the process.
Yeah, but a scare for Kamikaze is kind of like a massive incident for everybody else. It kind of doesn't faze him as he continues through the rally. He'll just kind of brush it aside and keep going, because that man is still flying through a very, very icy Latvia that we find ourselves in at the moment. Everybody else would probably have it in the back of their mind as they exit stage 13.
Yeah, for sure. Although it must be said that he got incredibly unlucky in the past season. So with just various crashes and not being able to reset at some point, so having to retire from the rally. So this season, maybe a change of fortunes. He's getting away with things, and to be honest, I like to see that.
Yep, no, it's nice to see Kamikaze back to speedy boy ways, shall we say, as Jam about to set off on what I can only assume is that 16-kilometre stage that he has to try and deal with and see how he can contend. It's less foggy for our drivers out here at the moment, stage number 4. If you're keeping track on RaceNet, you can obviously do that. !WRC in the chat. You get a link to all of the chaos and the carnage that you might be able to follow along with, and to join the club and race against your favourite creators as well. So you can come partake in these runs. They start every Tuesday, run through to the following Tuesday, and of course we commentate on the creators taking their runs every Monday evening.
Yeah, indeed. So you can participate and make us look like absolute muppets, like we are. So yeah, definitely this probably one of the toughest rallies I'd say to participate in if you're a newcomer. But the good news is, if you do participate this week, then it can only go up from here. Basically, I think this might be the trickiest rally, although looking at some of the combinations, actually we've got some shenanigans in store, that's for sure.
Well, it wouldn't be a WRC Creator Series without Punju throwing some shenanigans in there. I mean, if you look back to last season, the wild weather event that we had, where it pretty much went from dry to stormy conditions in the course of 3 stages. So keep your eyes peeled and keep your foot certainly planted to the floor and hope you make it to the other side. If you aren't keeping up with the calendar, the drivers do head to the Central European Rally next week, which saw some chaos from us commentators last season.
I don't know what you're talking about. No, nothing happened. Oh, Riff Blondie really taking an excessive line through there, just managing somehow keep the car on all 4 wheels, but definitely not a confidence-inducing incident. Yeah, definitely the start of this is very, very fast. We've got Rally Latvia, which we're doing right now, Central European Rally, one of the fastest tarmac rallies, and then straight to Poland as well. So the first 3 events really will suit a driver that just wants to push absolutely flat out.
And then you kind of have the flip side of that as we had to head to Rally Scandia, which is a really, really technical snow rally that our drivers are going to have to absolutely dial in for.
Yeah, for sure. Complete change of scenery, although the snow's still very present, but snow tyres at least, so not gravel tyres, so hopefully less slipping. Because it's worth noting that there's probably ice on the road here, and it's very, very low grip, but they're still on gravel tyres rather than ice tyres. So they've got to pay attention to not go too far off the racing line, basically. But yeah, Rally Scandia, one of the most challenging, and it's in some of the fastest cars as well, the WRC 2017 to 2021 class as well. What Punju was thinking when he was doing that, I don't want to know, but I kind of do want to know.
Punju has been cooking, and he has somehow not set anything on fire quite yet. Blondie through the chicane nice and smoothly. The rear end deciding to kick out on that Toyota, but managing to dial it in very, very professionally. Hayden Gullis going pretty much as the steam train decides to, pretty much in a straight line, keeping his wheels on the straight and narrow, listening to all of his co-driver calls this time. And this is where you really see the circuit experience from some of our drivers coming into play as the twists and turns come. Hayden is hitting pretty much every apex.
Yeah, will suit the circuit racers, that's for sure. With the very fast flowing corners, you have to use all of the roads, you have to keep it as smooth as possible, least oversteer as possible to keep momentum going as well. So definitely the fast gravel rallies have this characteristic of, if you can get into a good rhythm and be confident, it just flows from left to right, from corner to corner. And for Hayden, he's missed the junction there, going straight into, I think, a pole of some sort, or even a mailbox maybe. There are quite a few mailboxes on these roads, and let me tell you, they don't move.
They certainly don't. I have a feeling they're concreted down, and I also have a suspicion that someone's not getting their post tomorrow morning. So Hayden will have to apologise to the homeowner once he finishes the stage. He'll have to trek back about 8 kilometres and just say a nice Latvian greeting to the homeowner. Kamikaze and Flembar, 2 very, very quick drivers here in the WRC Creator Series. If you haven't seen them run at all before, Flembar on a controller, Kamikaze, of course, on a wheel, and pretty much both of them as quick as each other.
Indeed, yeah, these are the 2 we'll be watching for the overall positions, I think, because they are just class acts. They seem to know how to drive every single rally perfectly, and barring any huge mistakes or damage, they're always in contention. Now, for Vlembar, missing out a bit like Kamikaze, having a few unfortunate incidents and events that denied him the title last season, but I'm sure he'll want to come back and win another title, and if I'm correct, crown himself the first double champion of Creator Series in WRC.
Yeah, I think that sounds about right. Of course, we've had a certain person in the commentary box win last time out, and Lembar's won one, and Punju won season 1 with the infamous champagne celebration that we got. And yeah, it'd be nice to see someone go back to back. And I do wonder if you're going to try and throw your hat in the ring metaphorically.
It'll be interesting to see. Starting off not necessarily on the right foot in Latvia, but you know, it's a long season, and that's what our drivers have to take into account, is that the battles that we saw last year went right through the season, right to the last round, whether it was for first place or whether it was that huge midfield battle for P3 and below. So consistency is key, but also with the pace ever increasing, with people getting ever more confident with the game, you've got to start pushing the limits. And I will say, from our drivers here today, I'm seeing some limits getting pushed, and for Riff Blondie, tiny bit too much over the limit, getting a few penalties left and right.
I think you're right, and people are starting to find the flow in their groove. But I want to, if people have been here since the start, and obviously we've been very fortunate to be here since season 1 and see the early days of the WRC Creator Series. I just want to take a moment of appreciation how far Blondie has come in her rally driving. There was a very tentative start, and now she is throwing that car into corners and just hoping it sticks. And it's been a real development drive for herself, but she's doing so well.
Yeah, I agree. Not only for just Riff Blondie, but for quite a few of our creators, they have really sort of set the standards very high in terms of improving, in terms of just making sure. And as I say, that goes for a little spin and another 5-second penalty. Those anti-cut markers, I don't know where they are. I don't see them, but they're definitely there. But for Riff Blondie, that would have probably, like a season or two ago, that would have been a major crash. But she's calm now. She can sort of keep her mind focused and just make a small recovery like that, and away she goes again. It's very impressive to see.
Exactly right, and as you said, for all of our creators that have come through that journey, been here for all the seasons, Punju came across the line 21st on that stage 4, of course, the 16.3 kilometer one that he had to endure. And I've got our producer in the chat as well, and apparently the snow is not well, the encoders aren't liking all the snow, hence why sometimes things just look a little bit jumpy. They don't like too many bits flying around.
Yeah, no, most definitely. The particles will not be helping the computers, that's for sure. It's another little thing. You can see that on the official WRC broadcast as well. Whenever there's rain or snow or fog, you can get quite a bit of pixelation. That's the way a broadcast works, and it's very real to the actual conditions in that it's pushing the limits of what is achievable in terms of technology, and I still find it very impressive what we managed to achieve, to be honest. Give ourselves a little pat on the back there.
100%. There's a great video on YouTube called "Why Confetti Ruins a Broadcast," and it's by a beautiful man called Tom Scott. And this is not sponsored, not plugs, but go check him out. He's a wonderful man, and you will learn so much from watching his videos. But it will explain why things look a little bit choppy on screens when there is snow, fog, or snow or confetti and things like that. And it's because the computer just says no sometimes. Gareth, no, don't insult Tom Scott. I'm going to stand up for the man. He's a lovely gent. But Lembar and Kamikaze at the moment, making their way through the stage. Kamikaze still absolutely flying in that Toyota. He's probably a couple of meters away from the end. Lembar, I'm sure, won't be far behind him.
Yeah, you can just see the commitment from both of them, to be fair. They are absolutely on it. I just want to point out for Vlembar, he's managed to lose the best part of 45 seconds somewhere. I think on stage 3, which they... this is end of stage 4, if I'm correct. But Vlembar has had a huge incident, or maybe even a puncture there. So currently out of the running for first place, and Kamikaze has quite a buffer.
Yeah, certainly unfortunate for him. I was just looking at the time set down by Kamikaze there. If my numbers serve me correctly, he is P2 over that stage. He was 4 seconds off the top spot, which is had by Mo Easter. I don't know how to pronounce that. No, I'm going to try. I'm a professional butcher of names, so I apologise to Easter if they are in the chat. But yeah, let's see if we can get Kamikaze in for a quick chat, see how his rally is going. Kamikaze, welcome back to the Creator Series broadcast. P2 over that run. That must be a good feeling.
I think so. I felt everything went well. We had a little damage on the after the spin side of that. It's pretty good.
Yeah, something interference with the microphone, perhaps a little bit of crackling going on there. But is your ambitions for the season to win one and just win outright?
Now you're starting early, Isa.
Oh, we've got to ask the questions, the difficult questions early on. Got to know what's up.
We aim for a podium, and hopefully.
I heard aim for a podium. Hopefully we'll get to chat to Kamikaze just a little bit later when we can hear what he is saying. Sometimes I think it might be technical issues that prevent us from doing so. But what we did hear is he is aiming at least for a podium, so top 3.
Yeah, I think that's strangely pessimistic from Kamikaze because he's quite often the fastest driver and he just hasn't had the luck. And I think for a fast driver, it can become a psychological thing. Back when I used to do competitions and compete, if I had a run of bad results, it would become this thing where I knew that I had to reverse the tendency and work against it. But it's very difficult to come back from it, basically.
Yeah, it's a certain challenge to be able to try and navigate and deal with. And I wonder if we're able to pull one of our new guests in for a bit of a chat. Phil, welcome for the first time into the commentary box here in the Creator Series. How's the first few stages been treating you? Maybe we don't have Phil on the other end of the mic quite yet.
Sorry, y'all. I'm here.
There we go.
I'm here. First few stages, not too bad. First stage was good. Second stage, I made one mistake. I missed a braking point. I hit a bale, took a puncture, and then hit the bale on the next chicane. So that didn't help my cause. But other than that, feeling all right about where I'm at.
So for your
and
first
having fun doing it.
For your first run on the Creator Series, not the easiest of starts then. What's your approach to this sort of like longer competition? We've got 13 stages here. Is there a plan that you have?
Take care of the car. You know, especially it's ice and snow. I'm not great in the ice and snow at all. Sacrifice time initially on the clock, but take care of the car and use that to make up for the time where I may sacrifice some pace in that case.
I think that's a fairly solid way of looking at it. And of course, fairly short blast stages to kind of head through the rest of it as we decrease into nighttime and darkness. How do you think that's going to play into the mental aspect of driving when it comes to those darker stages where headlights are going to be absolutely vital?
Headlights are a double-edged sword on some of these nighttime stages coming up when it's dark and snowing. Because, you know, these headlights are all or nothing. There's no low beams or fog lights. So there's some stages where you can kind of pick your poison, run the headlights or not. But on the ones that's at dark, you're just going to have to really, you got to drive by your pace notes and your co-driver because you can't see very well at all.
Yeah, it's a real tough one to try and navigate with. Unless John has anything else to talk you through or ask you.
Well, I'd just like to ask, what's the confidence feeling like with the car at the moment? It's quite a fast car, so how are you dealing with that?
The car feels good. I've spent some time getting the setup together, had some help on the setting up the gearing. So I like how the car feels. I just don't like how the roads feel.
It's muddy surface. You know, the
Yeah.
Baltics are known for that. It's you know, it can almost feel like the car is bogging down quite a bit in the wet conditions. So definitely
Yeah,
understand
just
that
wheel
one.
spin.
Most definitely.
Well, amazing stuff, Phil. Thank you so much for coming in for a little bit of a chat. I'm sure we'll catch you later on in your run as well, mate.
Yeah, guys, I'm up in a minute, so we're about to get back on the road.
Amazing stuff. Well, best of luck for your next few stages.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you so much. Lovely guy. What a nice guy to chat to for his opening round of the Creator Series.
Very informative. Just had a very sort of fleshed out answer for the questions. It's very nice to see that we've got some thinking drivers as well, because some of the drivers just go, yeah, I'm pushing, I'm flat out, I don't think about it. And then you've got other drivers that are sort of calculating all the time and making sure that they've got everything perfect and worked out. So it's interesting to see the different approaches. And I guess the sweet spot is somewhere in the middle, but who knows?
Yeah, let's get JPH in for a bit of a chat as well to see how his run is going. JPH, welcome in to the commentary box for season number 4. How's your run been going for yourself?
Expensive after that first stage. Yeah, it was. It's been okay. It's been a lot of fun, to be fair. Just a couple of ditches deciding to cost me a lot of money in repairs when I got back to service. But nah, it's good. It's good fun, and it's a different position to be in now. Is playing catch up with everyone.
Seeing as you're a very sort of what I'd say confirmed driver, very quite a lot of expertise in running. What's the most difficult about dealing with a new location, new stages?
I think it's the obvious thing, which I think everyone will say, is just knowledge of it and having that sort of practice and time on it, especially in these sorts of foggy conditions as well. It's unfortunately I haven't been able to spend as much time as I'd like on them, and it probably does show in the fog. But yeah, that's the biggest thing with this, is just knowledge of the stage, because there's parts of the stages where there's little ditches you just don't want to clip, and having the knowledge of where those parts are is massive on this one.
Yeah, it seems to be one that's caught a few of our drivers out this what's upcoming at the moment. But obviously looking ahead to the rest of the rally, obviously it heads to night time in a little bit, and then hopefully the sun will rise over the Latvian hills once again.
Yeah, I mean, as weird as this might sound, I really enjoy nighttime stages. It's something I really enjoy. It's just a bit unfortunate. It's going to be absolutely slating with snow, so it's going to be impossible to see. But no, I look, well, as Isa probably knows this, I'll drive anything on it, on any location, at any sort of conditions. So I'm looking forward to the rest of this, and generally the whole season in general is going to be a fantastic season, I think.
Sign of a true old school rally driver, just happy to drive any sort of rally.
No, absolutely.
Well, best of luck with the rest of the rally. I'm sure we'll have a catch up with you a little bit later on. But yeah, best of luck with the next few stages.
Brilliant. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much. Well, let's hop back to see who else is on runs at the moment. I can see on one of our other screens, Blondie going through stage 5. And the visibility, shall I say, limited.
There is none. That's incredible. That's maybe less than 10 meters visibility at this stage. So yeah, I don't know how the driver's coping with it. I haven't driven these stages yet, so this is going to be interesting. Yeah, in terms of just picking your line, as you can see, I think Hayden has the headlights switched off, and it means that the snow isn't reflecting as much, so he can see further ahead. Whereas Riff Blondie still has the headlights on, and it's just creating this dazzling effect.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's almost might be limiting somewhat to her visibility. Hayden, I think, has taken some tips from some of the other runners, turn those headlights off, and he gets probably double, if not triple, the visibility that Blondie is experiencing at the moment. And that's really coming into his own degree in these stages and the sectors, especially as light continues to dim. He still has the fog elements there. He still has some of the snow by the look of it. But definitely visibility, a great improvement from what Blondie has as she finds herself off into the trees again.
Yeah, a little bit of an excursion, not too bad though, avoiding any sort of major damage. But that type of little contact, as you can see, a little bit more contact there, that can really just destroy your confidence. And once you start second guessing yourself, you effectively start turning twice into the corners, and it can just go from bad to worse, essentially, where you end up turning for a corner that isn't there, and you end up convincing yourself that you're going the wrong way, and all sorts can happen. So for Riff Blondie, I think she'll just be happy to get to the end of the stage as she's going through more foliage, but I'm not quite surprised that drivers are struggling in this one. This looks like really treacherous conditions.
Yeah, I thought Blondie's visibility was bad. I've just seen Punju's screen where he has the sun strip and the dashboard in front of him, and that is probably the smallest window of visibility I've seen in a rally car for a long time. Not to mention the outside conditions, let alone. He probably has, what, a meter, if that, of visibility out of that car?
Yeah, the funny thing about the Toyotas is the lack of visibility, yeah, for sure, in some of the cameras. That sun visor, or sun strip, whatever you want to call it, really restricts your visibility, especially when the stages are going uphill or downhill. Thankfully, Latvia's kind of flat terrain, you know, you're only gaining a couple of meters and losing a couple of meters with jumps and all of that. So not too bad, but even if you did have more visibility, all you're going to be seeing is fog at this point. So I don't think he's too worried about that.
I don't think he will be.
Turned off the lights now.
I think you're right. There is something about Punju that he will go and put his absolute everything into whatever stage or car throws at him in any given situation. And Latvia at the moment is really showing off what sort of skills he has. On the right-hand side of your screen, Jam at the moment making his way through the stages. Another driver that always seems to have a smile on his face, no matter what circumstances are thrown in his direction, albeit the visibility very, very poor for himself as well. There's a left turn coming for him. Nicely managed in that Toyota.
Yeah, having been to some locations where, in real life, where there's a lot of snow on the ground normally, and it can be quite foggy. One of the problems you have with snow on the ground is that it blends in with the fog. It's kind of the same color as you can see here. So unless you've got a defined line, and sometimes the stage here has a lot of snow on it, so it sort of camouflages where you've got to go. It can be very, very tricky to actually figure out where exactly you're wanting to go. With the lights turned off, however, we can see that they've got at least maybe another 10 to 15 meters visibility. It's not optimal whatsoever, as we can see Jam approaching the 150 kilometers per hour mark multiple times this stage, and that is the sort of speed where you can have a very serious accident very, very quickly.
Absolutely right, and considering he can barely see more than maybe a couple of feet in front of that car at the moment, he probably won't have enough time to slam on the brakes if a sharp turn does indeed come his way. But he is listening to the pace notes that his co-driver is giving him and responding to every single one of them. Minor jump for himself, and at the moment fairly straightforward. He's got a quick right-hander upcoming, and at the moment you can see the throttle and the brake inputs on that car, and he's navigating it very, very well, just being very cautious with it, but also kind of extending those track or the stage limits where he can.
Yeah, indeed. Most of the sort of technicality of a rally like this is actually smoothing out the stage, making sure that you're not overdriving the car. It can be very, very easy to overdrive the car, and I think we've got another interview lined up.
Yeah, I think we've got Riff Blondie in for a bit of a chat. Blondie, welcome in to the commentary box, and welcome in to season 4. And we've announced it to a few drivers, a bit of trial by fire. How have you been finding it?
Hello. It's a challenge. It's a total challenge.
Yeah, it's no
It's
joke.
it's the fact that you can see anything in front of you. And you are only depending on what you hear. It's so confusing because at times it's just like the next corner is 50 meters away and it goes like, you know what, you have to go to right, but just in 50 meters, but don't worry. It's okay if you don't see anything. You will go off track and then you will go back, like, Jesus. Guys.
The stage is quite forgiving in terms of going off track, or are you finding there's a lot of obstacles hidden?
There are not many obstacles, honestly, but I do feel like it gives you a penalty for anything. Like, even if there's not a proper corner that you've cut, it's a corner cut penalty. Out of nowhere. Amazing.
Is it worth talking through, Isa, the advice that some of the other drivers have got about turning off the headlights?
Yes, so we just a little bit of public information. If it is snowing and you can't see anything, turning off the headlights can actually give you maybe 10 meters extra visibility. So a lot of the drivers that have a lot of experience are doing that, and we noticed there's a few drivers, including yourself, that are not doing that at the moment. So just a pro tip.
No idea about that trick. Thank you.
And now you're going to set top times. Now
Yeah.
we're going to get the world records in now.
Not gonna disappoint you.
It's what we love to hear. Well, we look forward to seeing how they go on. And obviously, we had a few more stages to contend with, still snowing for pretty much all of them, unfortunately. But are you feeling confident towards the end of them? How are you settling into it well? That's probably the better question.
I feel like once I will turn the headlights off, I think it's gonna be much, much better. Because the snow is not the problem. The problem is that it doesn't look like snow. It looks like a million lights that go in front of your eyes. It's blinding. It's not the fact that you don't have visibility. It's the fact that it blinds you.
Yeah, I think we've heard that from a couple of people as well. Well, We'll see how you go with headlights turned off as you go into the fog and the snow of Latvia. And best of luck for the next few stages.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you so much, Blondie. Well, fingers crossed that that all works out for her. I'm actually quite eager to see how much it actually helps her out.
Yeah, you can see the sort of emotion, sort of. Oh, I've completed, half of the rally. You could see it on her face. She's maybe a bit of apprehension of the daunting task ahead of her, but maybe a little bit of relief that there's maybe a solution to her visibility problems. And we can see Vlembar again on stage. No headlights here. With sort of medium snow, and you can see the difference. It's much less visually distracting. I can see all of the roads there, and Blembar can see all of the places where he can just put a wheel on the grass and look at the lines. This is just wonderful to watch. It's just on the limit stuff.
It's absolutely fascinating to see what he's doing. Say that as he's up into the trees, or avoiding any major damage. A classic case of the commentator's curse there, John.
Yeah, so as a commentator, cursing your rivals is not exactly the thing that I was looking for, but hey, it happens anyway, whether I like it or not. It's very, very tricky because in very low grip conditions, as we've heard a few drivers say, the car can just get away from you. And the funny thing is that the more you brake, the more the rear becomes light and the more it snaps a little bit more, so it continues to slide. And even if you put on the throttle, you don't have to have enough space sometimes to actually catch the car and recover it. So with the very narrow roads here, it can be quite a challenge.
Yeah, we see that quite often in probably some more of the safari rallies, or if we go to say Greece, where the rocks kind of line the edges of the track. Essentially, you've got to be very, very careful, very cautious. And in this case, it is trees. Very similar to the CER that we went to last season. Of course, you have a slight bit of runoff. You have a slight area to try and catch the car. But if you don't do it in that very, very short period of time, normally it's left, right, tree, good night.
Yeah, well, with tarmac rallies, obviously, you can't afford to put a wheel on the grass because you don't have the tires suited for it. The gravel tires are a lot better on grass. They're not giving perfect grip, obviously. They are designed for gravel. But if you do put a few wheels on the grass, it won't immediately make the car uncontrollable like it will on tarmac. But yeah, it's a bit of a different challenge to Greece because you're going that extra 50 to 100 kilometers per hour more on average, and so that amount of speeds to slow down or to change direction in terms of weight transfer, it really makes a huge difference. And that's why we're seeing some drivers like Hayden here just chickening out of a corner and going around because they just got no choice. They can't get the car stopped, and so it's much better to just take the off slip road rather than get huge damage, as Hayden got very, very lucky there, it must be said. Just clipping the bank in the right way and just landing on all four wheels. Very, very good stuff.
I'm not sure if you managed to catch it before he started his run, or at least whilst the countdown lights were on. He was experimenting lights on, lights off very, very quickly just to see the absolute difference between having headlights on versus having them off. And you could see how much more visibility it gained to a mounted drivers, and even in conditions where it doesn't look that snowy at the moment, when he turned them on, and very similar to what Blondie was describing, it is like a million different lights just shining back at you.
I thought for a minute you were describing a new sort of Karate Kid film, Karate Kid 5. Lights on, lights off, lights on, lights off. But yeah, it's down to personal preference, really. With the lights, you can theoretically see further, but you have to train your brain to not get distracted by the dazzle effect, and that's very, very tricky to do at very high speeds. And it can be even more difficult because with the windscreen wipers on, you've just got so many elements here just acting against you in these conditions that making it through a stage without mistakes, even for the best drivers, is somewhat of a miracle. Now, for some of our drivers, they are running with fog off. That is an option. It's not an option for console players, sadly, but they are having a very considerable advantage. I'd say to be, to be in the top positions, you have to have the best visibility, so you're kind of forced to run with fog off.
As much as I agree in the general premise that you want to give yourself the best advantage, I should argue that we add 4 minutes to everyone that's running fog off, just for default, for well, let's say for funsies.
I think actually it might be more than 4 minutes, to be perfectly honest, because you had people like Kunju, who's no slouch of a driver for sure, losing, 40, 50 seconds on a very short stage because of the fog. So, if you add that up to 13, and let's say there's 8 stages, I haven't really counted how many stages are in foggy conditions, but let's say you've got 8 stages, 8 times, 40 seconds, that's a huge amount of time. I think that's more than 4 minutes. I'm not good at maths, so I won't do the calculation.
I think that's almost bang on 5 minutes if math serves me any way, shape or form. I'm sure someone in the chat will probably end up correcting me though, but that's half the fun of live presenting. Hayden up towards the line, and where's that time? 3 minutes 11 for himself. I'm going to try and guess. I'm going to assume this is stage 7 now, so pretty much halfway through. It's the nighttime stage, or at least so called, and there is the dazzling bright headlights. They get turned on just to blind the marshals. I wonder if we can get Hayden in for a quick chat just to see how his runs are going now, as we saw the experiment between headlights and no headlights. Hayden, how's it been going? You're still muted, sir.
It's a lot better without headlights, I found out. They told me to turn my headlights off, and I was like, right, is this another one of like drive really slowly at the start of the stage that you're doing to me? No, headlights off, much better. That snow is blinding the way it reflects off it. But that one was a bit messy. I was getting a lot of airtime in places I shouldn't have been.
Yeah, interpretive track limits. Thankfully, there's no 3-second penalties here, unless you get a corner cut warning. But how is it? How can you adapt your sort of driving from the Formula style games, obviously, to the rally games? We've had a few stages that haven't been in fog. So how have you found it when you've actually been able to push the pace?
I don't know. I think you guys watching probably have a better idea, but I just feel like I drive still very smoothly. I'm still very much brake turning. I feel like with rallying, it's maybe more of, you're coming off the throttle and you're controlling the car when it rotates on you, which I feel like I don't necessarily excel in. It's more, I see it pop up. There's going to be a tight corner or even a medium corner, and I'm just, I'm hitting the brake. I'm waiting for the car to get stopped to get the car turned in, and it's one small smooth rotation in and smooth rotation out. A few corrections here and there, but I wouldn't really say that I've massively changed my driving style. I feel like I still drive very much like I'm driving F1 at the moment.
Yeah, I will say that's pretty much exactly how I described it, to be fair. It does look very smooth, and I'd say it looks, as we can see on your screen there, the visibility is 0, basically. It looks like, especially in the fast stuff, you are literally just driving to the limits of the circuit, and I will say it's impressive to watch.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's been good fun, just trying to get to grips with it and experiment with it. And I'm still, very much just trying to find my feet everywhere. And my main goal is really, it's weird, but it's the way that I always drive and everything, just slow and steady. No real instance. This was probably my dirtiest stage that I've done, but all the other ones have been fairly clean, keeping it together, and hopefully it pays dividend later on without having to do any major damages.
Well, best of luck. You're on the back end of the stages now. I think 8 onwards, so you've only got 6 more to contend with. Still snowy, still foggy, but at least you're on the home stretch, shall we say?
Let's go.
Well, best of luck, dude, and we'll catch you towards the end, mate. Oh, amazing stuff. Always positive, and always a great laugh and a great chat.
Yeah, for sure. Only 6 to go, however. I just want to point that out. That's nearly halfway still, so... the last approaches, the last segment, I'm not quite sure about that one. A little bit of optimism right there from my co-commentator.
I'd still say it's the rear end of the stages. What we won't mention to Hayden at this moment in time, or we'll mention to the viewers at home though, the power stage in this is, of course, the final stage, might be 16.5 kilometers long.
Yeah, just a small fact to mention.
Yeah.
Not really of any consequence, obviously. It's not as if it's the power stage where 5 points are available or anything.
No. It's just another casual drive home from the shops. Don't forget that.
Well, in terms of like Baltics and Finland and all of that, casual drive home from the shops can be quite on the limit.
Yeah, well, we'll see how it goes for a few of our drivers. Let's see if we can grab Ancephalosis in from for a quick chat here as we approach the halfway mark. Andrew, welcome in to the commentary box for season 4. I'm loving the scarf, by the way.
Hello. Thank you very much. Hey guys, how's it going?
It looks like the you're in the spirit of snow and all of that, but is it treating you kindly? We've had a few drivers having quite a few incidents and problems. So what's your perspective?
I think it's treating me relatively well. Man, when we were practicing for this, I think I might have actually done myself a little bit of a favor because I was practicing with like heavy snow situations and I was getting really frustrated. I was like getting nervous. I actually joked that it was almost as if I had unprepared myself in the hour leading up to it because it was like I was getting more and more nervous. But I think it was just because I was practicing with a ton of snow. And I think that kind of trial by fire got me into the right mentality of just keep it safe, drive within your visibility, but also like try to keep it confident. So I think the snow is treating me well so far. I think my biggest mistake actually just came from like a lack of confidence. I had a bit of a spin out on stage 1 where it really came down to like we were coming around a high speed corner and I kind of started to lose it a little bit and I just like totally let off the gas. But I think it was a lack of confidence there. I needed to remain on the throttle, keep the car under control, but then maybe just balance it out with a little bit of brakes. So I don't know, long-winded answer, but I think the snow is treating me mostly well.
Good to hear that it's treating you well, at least as we head into, well, I was going to say the back half. I got told off by Isa for saying we're on the home stretch, but we certainly are on the home stretch. How are you feeling with your confidence levels now? You're kind of a little bit more enrooted to the runs.
Yeah, definitely even more confident after that spin out. We've been kind of honing it in. I'm feeling very good. I was just afraid that we had service there. Sorry, but we're good. Yeah, no, I'm feeling better and better. I would say we're warming up to it. I feel very good in the car on the road right now. Sometimes you kind of feel like sloppy. Sometimes you want to make adjustments to your tune, but I'm feeling locked in, as they say.
All those
Amazing.
words.
Unless John has anything further to ask.
Well, it looks like he's getting ready to go on the stage, so I won't hold him up. Just best of luck with the conditions. I can't imagine it's quite easy to drive.
Thank you very much. And I just noticed the nice scarf to you as well.
For different purposes, definitely for different purposes.
Okay. Right on. Thank you guys. I'll try my best.
Thank you so much. Well, interesting to see how that confidence level continues to grow over the next few stages as well. Obviously, the first couple were certainly trial by fire, but I think that fire is starting to burn out as we go over the few because the snow has certainly stopped for a lot of our drivers. It's no longer falling from the sky, however, it does continue to remain on the ground.
Yeah, indeed. I've just noticed something as well. Ancephalosis and I might have to swap scarves because he's wearing his for style and I'm wearing mine for survival, whereas he needs to survive the stages. So, a little bit of an imbalance there.
Just put it over the other shoulder. That's exactly what it means, right?
Indeed, very stylish. It's good to see drivers, getting themselves into the mood of like the winter rallies as winter fast approaches in Europe. It must be said.
I've just caught a glimpse of Punji's screen as that crown is either slowly falling off his head or he's now wearing it as a half crown. And there's either going to be a moment where that's about to completely fall off mid-rally or he's going to hold on to it rather spectacularly. Vlembar as well on the right-hand side of your screens, heading their way through the stages at the moment. And again, one of those very, very quick drivers. We haven't managed to catch up with Vlembar so far, and I wonder how he is managing to get on. I can confirm stage 7, he was P3, so very, very quick as usual.
Yeah, I'm not surprised that, to be honest, Kamikaze is just that little bit faster. Whenever it comes to very fast gravel rallies and snow rallies, so add the two together and you've got the perfect combo. He just seems unstoppable, really. And looking at the calendar, I think Kamikaze has a very, very good chance of challenging Vlembar and other drivers for the title. But he just needs to keep it clean. And The first person to blink this season has been Vlembar with that little incident in stage 3. So it's off to a good start for him for sure.
It certainly is indeed. It's one of those that you can recover from those minor mistakes, not necessarily over the course of 1 or 2 runs, but you will be able to claw some time back as long as you don't overdrive the car. That's something we've spoken about over the course of all 3 seasons so far here in the WRC Creator Series. So it might not necessarily come back into the hands of Vlembar for this rally necessarily, but I think it might come back into his hands maybe next time out when we head to the CER.
Yeah, it's worth mentioning as well that this season there's no rear-wheel drive. There's only one front-wheel drive in Sardinia with the F2 kit car. Oh god, that's going to be interesting. Anyway, moving on. The rest of it is four-wheel drive as far as I can see. So that will definitely suit both Kamikaze and Vlembar, and indeed most of our drivers. We've seen the closest events and the events where our creators have been able to push the most, being the four-wheel drive series. The rear wheel drive and front wheel drive is more of a survival sort of series for our creators, so we can expect some flat out action throughout the entire season, which is brilliant.
Yeah, I remember when we chose the Central European Rally last time, the H3 rear wheel drive. We thought it'd be really funny to send the creators there, and then we got sent there to drive, and there was instant regret and probably a lot of bad karma coming our way.
I don't remember that. See, I remember having a spectacular time. Lovely drifting the car left, right, and center with no grip. It was wonderful.
Lucky for some who probably rally quite considerably more than I do.
Most definitely, yeah. I mean, when you choose a difficult location like that, it really is challenging, and that's the thing is that it's always a difficult balance between, let's say, having a challenging venue and encouraging drivers to push flat out. What we want to see is spectacular action. Obviously, everybody wants to see that, and I think this season will have even more spectacular action.
I think it absolutely will. There's some fantastic stages coming this way before we head up towards Rally Oceana. Just to finish off at Christmas, Group A will be the final run for our drivers. Actually, interestingly enough, we've got 2 outings of the WRC cars. I think they're both the real-life crossovers. That'll be Central European Rally next week and Rally Japan at starting November 19th. So a good one to keep your eyes on too. I just want to quickly, whilst talk about. I've completely lost my train of words here. I think there was a mention of Anuti coming in somewhere.
Yeah, I think there was. I'll just interrupt then to say that on that last stage, Vlembar and Kamikaze separated by 1/10 of a second at the top of the leaderboard, in Vlembar's favor. So a stage win for Vlembar. But for the moment, it is Kamikaze at the top of the leaderboard by 13 seconds overall right now. He is just flying.
Yeah, he's doing spectacularly well. I think we were going to get an interview. I don't know who's Gareth's about to pull in. Oh, it's going to be Vlembar. Lovely. Let's pull Vlembar in and have a quick chat. See how his rally has been going so far. Vlembar, how's it going?
Hello. So far pretty okay. I had one really bad stage 2, where I clipped the inside and completely got launched off the track and got a 30-second. So I think I lost most of the time, just a gap to Kamikaze now there. Except that, yeah, there's a few more mistakes, but nothing too big.
So currently sat P7 overall, if I'm correct, and I think you've actually gained time back since that incident. So stage win on the last one. So is the confidence finally there? Are you finding the pace that you need?
I'd say by now the confidence and pace is definitely there. I think I got a few stage wins so far now, so yeah, it's just unlucky with stage 2 that I lost so much time there. Otherwise, I would have been right around Kamikaze, so a bit unfortunate.
Talk us through what actually happened in stage 2. I think we caught the aftermath of a little bit of it. Was it just a bad incident or maybe just a bad exit out of the corner?
Just the tiniest bit of contact on the inside, where I clipped like the small banking basically. And yeah, like I said, it completely shot me off the track. I actually got lucky there that I didn't get launched into a tree. And yeah, but I got so far off track, I got a 30-second from that. So yeah, just unlucky.
So what's your optic now? Trying to pressure Kamikaze into a mistake, or are you going to sort of focus everything on the power stage now?
Yeah, I think he has it pretty much safe now. So I'm just gonna take it a bit more cautious and bring it home at E2, I think, right now. So I'm gonna take that and not risk anything. And maybe I can try something in the power stage, but we have to see.
And as I'd say a last difficult question for you. Seeing as most of the season is four-wheel drive, who do you think's going to be toward the top? Yourself, Kamikaze, someone else? What's your interpretation?
I can see myself being at the top there for sure. I think also Kamikaze, and I would say you also. So yeah, could be really close, but I think there's a few tougher rallies in there. I think there's also like Poland, which I haven't driven much so far, obviously, since I'm practiced a bit for Latvia. But yeah, I think that's gonna be a good one. Otherwise, I don't really have in mind right now what's else. I think at Japan at the end is also one I struggle with, so I don't know. But I think in general, it's a pretty fun calendar, to be fair. With a lot of more balanced out options, I'd say.
Amazing stuff. Well, best of luck for the remaining few stages for yourself, and hopefully looking forward to the rest of the calendar as well. I'm sure we'll see you up at the top spots, and we'll have a chat with you just a little bit later, mate.
Thank you. Enjoyed.
Thank you so much. It's always mind-blowing to see how humble and quick he is. Much like yourself, Isaac. Very, very quick driver, but very, very humble in their abilities.
Yeah, I think there's a definitely sort of healthy competition in the Creator Series. We know it's mainly for entertainment purposes, mainly making sure that everybody has their fun moments, but some drivers do take it quite seriously, and so the pace just gets faster and faster, and the midfield kind of gets dragged along with trying to improve the pace, seeing the front runners get further and further away. So like in every sort of competition, even if it's casual, there's a tendency to try and push to get the best results. As I think Hayden just got a penalty for track extending there. Reminiscent of F1 24?
I think reminiscent of pretty much every single run, every single F1 game that he's done. Punji there celebrating P18 over that stage. I think that is going to be stage number 9. 9.9 kilometers long, and he's in the top 20, and very, very happy with that is he.
Yeah, and he should be. Only 6 seconds off the pace. That is incredible time. And maybe he's found the confidence. Maybe he's found finally a setup that works for him. We've heard from quite a few drivers now that they've been focusing on setups and focusing on fine-tuning the cars. And it does get to a point where, if you want to challenge best times, you have to create your own setup. You have to be comfortable with the car. And what a line from the XR Kamikaze, just getting right to the edge of that the anti-cut marker, but not clipping it, just taking all of the stage necessary and keeping the speed up. Look, barely going under 100 kilometers per hour there for that turn, and that means that you can carry all of that speed down this straight, and it makes a huge difference. You can lose multiple seconds if you get a bad exit from one corner onto the main straight.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I don't know if you caught Hayden's screen just a couple of moments ago. He was comparing his sector time. He was in the mid 160s, if memory serves me correctly, but he was scrolling up and found that he was beaten out by Blondie. And now I don't want to take too much credit for her pace, because obviously she's a very quick driver by herself, but it seems to be that turning off the headlights might have worked.
Yeah, who would have thought you can go faster if you can see stuff? Interesting. I just want to say, by the way, also, that drift, that reverse entry for Kamikaze into that double right-hander was absolutely perfect. Like, you couldn't have got an inch or a kilometer more of speed into that turn. He was on the limit of grip of the car, of the tyres, and everything. That was spectacular to watch, and I think that's really what Vlembar was saying. He's got this one in the bag unless he really messes up. He has just supreme confidence on this type of rally.
Yeah, Kamikaze has that buffer in which he can almost make a mistake and go wrong in one of the stages, but he's been looking so consistent over the course of these stages so far. He's just finished off what I assume is stage 10, if memory serves me correctly.
9 he has just finished, and fastest by 5.4 seconds currently.
Wow.
Just hats off to him.
Well, I think he's fastest by 5 seconds on that stage. Overall, he's got about a 20-second lead over Mandude 94, which is just incredible pace.
Yeah, it's well, in a car class where historically the gaps have been tenths of seconds to, just a few seconds between the top 10. Beating drivers by 5 seconds on what is quite a short stage is just incredible. The amount of risk and confidence that you have to do that is difficult to comprehend sometimes.
It certainly is, and it's something that I can't even put into words. I've come in rather blind to rally in terms of the esports scene and all that sort of thing, and seeing drivers go this quick round these stages where I couldn't even comprehend my lefts and rights sometimes. It is just mind-boggling to watch.
You probably won't believe me on this one, but I frequently get left and right mixed up. And so there's quite a few rally drivers, ironically, that just listen to the severity of the corner, but that frequently get left and rights mixed up, which can lead to some very funny moments that I've seen from multiple of our creators, where they just turn the wrong way for the corner and have to do the biggest Scandinavian flick I've ever seen just to get the car rotated into the next corner. So listening to the pace notes is one thing, getting your brain to understand those pace notes and act accordingly is something different.
Well, that makes me feel a heck of a lot better knowing it's not just me, that here's a number and not necessarily which way I need to point the car as we're travelling probably double digits, if not triple digits, in terms of speed and consistency. Hayden on your screens at the moment, as is Phil at the moment, going through some of the latter stages of this run. And so far, both of them looking very, very locked in and focused. There's a slight difference in camera angle. We've mentioned this over the course of different rallies and different seasons. Hayden's gone very similar to Punju on that inside cam without the wheel, whereas Phil has decided to go for the bonnet cam, or as I think they call it in America, the nose cam or the hood cam.
Yeah, I think in this game the difference between views is actually a little bit less, because the visibility isn't that bad in car, especially on a rally like this where there's no ups and downs or blind crests. Essentially, you won't be losing much at all by being in car, and if you can get a good feel for the grip, then it can even be a small advantage if you're perfectly in tune with the car. So the only real difference maybe that I can see is maybe when it's snowing or very foggy conditions, you don't have the windscreen wipers, but I don't expect that to be a huge factor. For those that are wanting to go absolutely 100% fastest, like a certain kamikaze, you will be choosing what I like to call esports camera.
Is that essentially just the bonnet cam centered on the car, if memory serves me correctly here?
It is indeed, yeah. The main benefit is that it's centered, so you know exactly where you're placing the car, and you can, if you've got the camera set up properly and the wheel is, or your seat is the correct position away from the screen, it gives you a good sense of speed and of grip levels and just the best visibility as well of obstacles as you're approaching it. One of the difficulties in the modern rally cars now is that the camera position is so low in the car if you go in car cam that sometimes you can't actually see the obstacles just as you approach them. You can see them in the distance, and then when you're on top of them they just disappear below your perspective. So there's a tiny bit of a difference there, but on a rally like this it's mainly just placing the car correctly, so not too big a difference.
Yeah, it's interesting to see all the different lines and all the different cameras that our drivers are really starting to utilise over the course of the season. Kamikaze there, using the ditch to his advantage. We've seen that time and time again. Instead, it can quite often be faster if you can drag that wheel in. It will really rotate the car for you, essentially. Fell on the right-hand side across the timing beam in the mid-170s, 180s, I think, if I managed to catch that.
I saw Riff Blondie in the 190s there. So, yeah, they're doing very good times. And I just want to point out again, top 200 basically separated by 10 seconds.
It's absolutely incredible how close the times really are. And if you are still in chat and want to come partake in this, I think !WRC in the chat will get you the link tree for all of the links. Discord, the RaceNet, and I believe something else as well. So you can come get involved. You can race alongside some of your favourite creators and even compare your times to them as well. There we go. Gareth lovingly put it in the chat for yourselves as well. So do click that, follow along, and see how we get going. We'll see what's on there and have a look. So we've got our standings, Discord, and of course the RaceNet Club in there as well. So you can come put your times on the leaderboard, like we see with a lot of our creators as well.
I think that we have an interview lined up, I've just heard, but I did not catch who it was. So we'll find out. Ah, yes, EXR Kamikaze. Back in the comms box. Hopefully the microphone is good now. How's it going? It seems that you're on top of the world right now.
I feel pretty good, and I hope the microphone is okay.
Better
It's
than
better.
it was.
Nice, nice. I take it off my beard. Maybe that was the sound issues. So
Literally the beard, just having a skill issue with the microphone there. But what we can say is that there's no skill issues so far in terms of the driving. What do you think you do different to other people that allows you to go so fast in this type of rally?
I love snow. I and actually this time I have put in a lot of practice with a new Toyota, a new car. I need to feel the car to know it, I think. And as I said to Encephalosis a little bit early, if I stay clean on the stage, I know exactly how much damage I will get from each part. So, and yeah, that's a game. That's me problem, I think.
Yeah, it's certainly been going all the way with Kamikaze. I think last time I checked, you were probably about 26 seconds clear at the top of the leaderboard heading into the final 3 stages. That surely has to mean confidence high for the final 3.
Yeah, I feel very comfortable in this car. The setup suits me well. I've used a lot of time to adjust the setup, and I think I use another tire strategy as everyone else. I go for 661, so I have my super soft left for the power stage.
Wow, okay. That's supreme confidence. So using one set of tires less and then going all in for the power stage. So you're definitely wanting to go for maximum points in this one. Start the championship off on the perfect sort of event.
We try. It's a long way to go, but we still, as you say to me early, Isa, we're pushing.
Well,
pushing
best of
you
luck.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, best luck with the final 3 stages, mate, and best luck with the power stage with your new super soft tires.
Thank you.
Oh, it's amazing stuff. Well, let's see how he goes with that power stage. If he's got fresh tires like he's doing, and that is not just a bluff from us here in the commentary box, I will be amazed at how quick he's about to go.
He showed it on screen. He's got another set of one set of super softs, and he's not putting it on the car at the moment. That is just wow. That's frightening in terms of confidence. I'm, for the other drivers, I'm quite glad they're not aware of that, because that would just be demoralizing at that point. That you've got one driver that is able to keep a set of tires back and also go faster than you. Like that is a Sebastian Ogier type level of drive, or Kalle Rovanperä type drive. Talking about that, that's an Elfyn Evans style of drive right there. Going off and having a little bit of a spin, getting quite lucky. I hope that's not a puncture, because he did get a wheel caught in the ditch, and that is a 50-50 of whether there's any problems afterwards. Looks okay though.
If he does not have a puncture, he is certainly very, very dizzy in that cockpit at the moment. I couldn't even count how many spins that man has just done, no matter whether or not he was facing the right direction after it, and plunging once again into the ditches that find themselves either side of the road at the moment. Hayden, just off into the snowy grass and the snowy gravel, back on to the straight and narrow, looking a bit confused as to what just happened there. I wonder if he couldn't quite figure out why the car was understeering.
Yeah, the camera was so surprised that it froze his perplexed face on the screen for a second there. But yeah, drivers struggling, trying to push the limits a little bit more. They know this is one of the stages where visibility is good, so you kind of want to get the confidence levels back up, keep pushing, and it can lead to some small problems. I will say for Bunju, even though he's spinning around and around, he's got that buff from the crown that he's got on, so that'll be giving him some extra stats for his driving, maybe +2 concentration or something like that.
Yeah, I think it's +2 concentration, but also he gets to roll for advantage for a second time. So we'll see how that fares with him in the final few stages of this. I think the snow is definitely scheduled to fall again, definitely in split stage 13, potentially in special stage 12 as well. So we'll see, keep an eye to the skies and see what that weather is about to bring chaos for our drivers.
Yeah, definitely for the power stage, that is going to be a rough one, because you want those points. You want be pushing, and for Hayden, well, if he didn't know where he was going, now he's got a close-up of what town he is driving towards, so at least he's not lost anymore. However, the car would appreciate that he doesn't drive into the signpost. The signpost versus car, the signpost is winning that one, I think.
Yeah, which is rather unfortunate for the signpost. I mean, they get their feelings hurt, as do the car. They both don't like crashing into each other, and I think they'd be rather avoiding each other and passing on their merry way. But I think at the moment, Hayden and Punju very similar stages of this stage. Hayden not far off that final timing beam. I think he'll be relieved to get himself into that final area, have a bit of a rest and recoup before the final 2 runs, because I'm going to assume he's on stage 11 at the moment. I think that would be about accurate. Punju off into a tree.
Yeah, he was just offline. He was on the inside of the corner while braking, and so the corner was just way too tight for what he was doing, and didn't lift off the brake. I think he was just trying to slow the car down as much as possible before he inevitably hit something. But that's the nature of this rally. There's very, very little margin for error. I'm starting to think, does he have a puncture? Because the way the car was handling then, it looks pretty weird, and I think he's looking now maybe to check whether there is indeed a puncture. But again, with the amount of ditches and stuff that he's crashed into, I wouldn't be surprised, sadly. But yeah, he's got to the end of the stage. That's the main thing.
Yep, he certainly has done. Yeah, puncture on that car for sure, and that would explain why a lot of the handling wasn't necessarily going the way of Punty, and that is 200th and 77th place for himself. No penalties though, so of course he kept it within essentially the stage limits, but it won't have helped him in any way, shape, or form, being without a tyre in such treacherous conditions that we find ourselves here in Latvia.
Yeah, ironically, the times between people getting the gaps growing larger as the visibility gets better. So, are we seeing a phenomenon of everybody's forced to back off the pace when the visibility gets rough, and then when drivers start pushing, those that have confidence are just being able to gain the upper hand and sort of pull out that gap. A very interesting one. I would have expected it to be the other way around, but there you go, that's rally for you. And you know, some drivers will be perfectly attuned, like Kamikaze, to this type of stage. It's a very distinctive stage sort of type, and I can only assume that that's why the rallies in these locations are so popular. There's such a rally culture in Latvia, Estonia, Lithuania, Poland, just the whole of basically Eastern Europe is rally mad.
Yep, it's really an interesting one, and obviously, like you said, it's so popular in those countries. It gets a massive, almost cult following. I don't want to say to that degree, but it is absolutely spectacular to see how much of a turnout they get on all the stages. You see it quite often on the TV broadcast when the rally ends up in those countries, and it's such a lovely thing to see.
Yeah, and the sort of positivity of, or like the culture goes all the way down to the national and sort of local events as well. You very often get just basic competitions with maybe 50 to 100 entrants, all in just their regular, you know, Sunday drive cars, as you call them, just driving to the shops, but taking a little detour to set some stage time, basically. That's what makes the drivers in these sort of the professional drivers that come from these countries so strong, is that they're used to this type of competitiveness and driving on these stages, since they're basically you know, kids sitting alongside in the passenger seat, and then on the first occasion they're already driving flat out going to the shops or something.
Yeah, very true. I mean, I've been to Sweden once, and trying to drive on snow and conditions like we see quite often over there was almost perilous. I wouldn't be surprised if a regular driver from maybe the UK, we see how bad some of our drivers are when the conditions get icy. Ditches would be cooling rather quickly. Kamikaze across the timing beam for himself, as we do get a raid in as well from Mr. Dale, so welcome in everybody from himself.
Indeed, welcome to the chaos, and with I think 3 stages to go still, our drivers are looking to get to the end now, but it's looking tricky still. That we're still seeing mistakes, and that fog, that pesky fog, does appear to be coming back for IRC 99 Flake. Apparently is the title now. Good stuff. So IRC JP8.
I'd wish the flakes were still 99 cents or 99p as we have in the UK, because they are now 3 or 4 quid. I mean, I've seen them for a fiver before. So inflation has been hitting the humble ice cream rather dramatically.
And that's even just for the little chocolate bit. It's not even for the ice cream. Like they're just terrible, terrible news. I'm not sure I'll be able to recover from that bit of information now. I didn't realize it was that expensive.
My disappointment is immeasurable and my day has been ruined. I think that is Isaac's mood right about now.
Indeed. Yeah. Survival has now gone from just survival to now misery over that fact.
I'm not going to repeat what Amy and Mike just said in the chat, but if you read it, have a laugh at the moment as well. But Riff Blondie and Punju both on your screens at the moment. I think they're heading through the final few stages. Punju's with a roll. He's on his roof and he's back on 4 wheels, but I think a lucky escape. He looks like he's driving with one hand there.
Yeah, that looks like it could have been a lot worse, and I think he's just got some damage on the car, and it's not driving the way he wants. So, yeah, it's looking like he's having to concentrate a lot. Usually during the stages he's smiling quite a bit. Right now it's looking like he's fighting the car, and you know that is not what you want to be doing at 100 kilometers per hour. What a recovery! Can he keep it? He's still pointing somewhat in the right direction, and indeed he does recover.
I have no idea how he's managed to keep that in the correct direction. For about half a second, it was left, right, sky, ground, left, sky again. And somehow he's managed to keep all 4 wheels on the gravel and pointing in the right direction. Don't get me wrong, it won't be the fastest time overall out of all of our races here this afternoon, but fortunately, he is still going, and at the end of the day, that's all that matters.
Well, yeah, indeed. Just getting to the end is a medal in itself on this one. I mean, they've been through, some tricky conditions for sure. And I think what might be sort of weighing on people's minds now is that last stage, which again is going to be in foggy, snowy conditions, as Hayden does a little bit of weight loss there on the Toyota. I'm sure the engineers will be happy about that. A little bit up on the bank as well, but getting away with it again. It does look like the incidents are recoverable, but you're taking considerable risks doing that.
You certainly are. I mean, Hayden is probably... I don't want to say he's new, I don't want to say he's rookie, but it's actually very sweet and genuine things that he is doing. Like, he waved goodbye to his bonnet as it flew away off into the sunset. He tried to look underneath the the bonnet as it rose up above him. And it's actually quite funny to see, because it's a very similar thing that I did when I first started playing these games.
You become attached to your car, you know, it's been through so much with you. And, you know, crashing into the finish line, I must say I've done that as well. As we've got Kamikaze going for a roll as well, just off of our camera, so it's all kicking off. Kamikaze's recovered it, not lost too much time apart from damage to his pride. But yeah, you can see the car there is a little bit misshaped. And I don't suppose crashing into the finish line does it any good either.
Probably not. I think Toyota engineers somewhere will be writing down where he's managed to lose some weight. Obviously, their anticipated return to another racing series, Formula 1, will be coming, I think, in the next couple of years. So engineers across departments will be looking at each other, kind of stealing ideas and seeing how it goes. As you said, Kamikaze, that little roll hasn't really affected him more than usual. He's still back on it. I think that 22 or 26 second gap that he had at the start of this stage will be dwindled rather considerably.
He lost maybe 2 or 3 seconds only. It was a medium speed roll, so it wasn't as if he was flat out, and he got going very, very quickly afterwards. Didn't even come to a stop. So, in terms of overall, as long as he doesn't do that during the power stage, he'll still be on for maximum points. But seeing how much Vlembar and Kamikaze are pushing, trying to one-up each other, we could still be in for an incident before the end of the rally. I think both of them are playing a little bit of an ego game right now, and Vlembar trying to prove to Kamikaze that he had the pace all along. It's just unfortunate his mistake. And Kamikaze trying to prove to Vlembar that no, I had you all along, and there was no chance of victory anyway. So it's all well and good, but if you end up making a mistake and crashing out, we've seen it many, many times in real life. Sometimes you've got to put the ego aside and just go for the result, essentially.
Yeah, it's one that you have to kind of dabble with from time to time. Do you go for an overall result, or do you kind of try and stick your pride out as long as you possibly can? Vlembar here, I'm trying to figure out what stage he's on. I'm going to assume it's stage
12.
12. I was about to guess that, fortunately. I was looking through all the RaceNet timings and the standings at the moment, and it's looking considerably more sunny than it was at the start of this rally.
Yeah, indeed. That won't last long, but this is the little reprieve before we go into the absolutely ludicrous conditions. Kamikaze losing 6 seconds on that stage, so perhaps a little bit of an excursion off cameras that we didn't manage to spot. But in terms of overall, he's still fine and dandy, and as long as he can get the car repaired, although looking at his screen, got quite a bit of damage, so question mark.
Yep, I think he was down in P10 at the end of that stage, as you said, 6 seconds, 6.5 seconds off of the pace of Mandude, but that has only affected the difference. It's now down to 24 seconds, the gap between Kamikaze and Mandude heading into the power stage. So certainly still on for 4 points at the end of this rally. Vlembar still throwing it through all the twists and turns that this rally wants to throw it in. About halfway stage of number 12. The split was a 1:47. If we can double that, you get about 3 minutes and 20-something seconds, if math serves me something correct. So he is on for a very quick time at the moment.
Yeah, he's been trading fastest times in the past couple of stages with Kamikaze. So with Kamikaze just having a little mishap in that one, he'll be looking to sort of ram home that time, looking to take points off of Kamikaze already because gaps grow very fast in this championship. So he'll be looking to at least get the 5 power stage points. However, Kamikaze with that fresh set of tires, that's going to be very, very difficult for Vlembar, unless Vlembar has gone for the exact same strategy. It is possible. We haven't looked at everybody's tires or tire choices during the rally. In fact, that might be a very interesting metric for us to get before the broadcast, so we can present more information to all of you about what tire strategies people are going with. But it remains to be seen whether drivers would actually give us that information.
Well, it remains to be seen, and hopefully someone will be able to tell us what, or at least show us what they are going for the final few runs. It looks like Hayden and Punju are about to line up and get ready. We'll wait and see as the 99-cent Flake and Vlembar come across their respective timing beams, see where they check in for the penultimate run of this rally, and then we'll switch over to Punju and see what himself and Mr. Gullis can muster up here on their final runs. It's a top 10 time for IRC, I think, if I might have looked that wrong, but I think it was a top 10 time, or at least a top 20.
10. Exactly, 10th place. 10th place, exactly. Fastest Flake in the East.
The wind's got it. It is 90% air anyway. No wonder it's gone off into the distance.
Yes, and speaking about air, there's a little bit of something in the air on this last stage, as you can see, with 3 of our drivers already into that power stage. And the visibility is back down to 0. Good luck for all of our drivers in this one. There are points on offer, so they will be pushing. And it looks like most of the cars are actually intact, so they'll be going flat out.
I think they certainly will. They get a long service stage just before they head on to this final run, and with visibility at sweet nothing, shall we say, over 16.5 kilometers, it is going to be full focus for a lot of them. And I'm putting an early prediction on for a few of our drivers. That crown on Punju's head is not staying on by the end of these 16 kilometers.
Oh, that's a bold prediction. Okay, then. Wow. If the crown falls, that has very serious implications for Punju. You should never let a crown fall on the ground. Especially in countries of like Latvia, where there's a very, very historical sort of a meaning behind crowns and all of that. But who will be crowned the winner of the power stage? It remains to be seen, as Hayden Gullis really going up on the bank there and can't even get it out of the ditch right now. He's just stuck.
Yeah, a little bit of focus up for himself. I think that was a bit of a wake-up call into the final stages into the final stage rather for himself. Just maybe a bit of a wake-up, a reminder of what he is doing, and just a rejuvenation to focus into the final few kilometers that he has to go.
Yeah, you can see the focus. This is as if he's at the end of a 60-lap F1 race, and he's fighting for lead with 2 laps to go, something like that. And he's just locked in. Although you can see the hesitation on his face when he makes a little mistake and flips the bank and all of that. He knows he's seconds away from disaster. As Punju just off screen has gone for a little bit of a roll, but has recovered by now. Flembar, don't worry. That is just a replay. He's not going off stage or anything. I thought he was for a second, but we're all okay. And Rift Blondie, it must be said, once again, I will repeat what we said earlier. She's been very consistent, and since she's turned the headlights off, she's been quite rapid as well.
She certainly is indeed. I think she's found the focus, found the flow, and we were talking to her obviously earlier on in the rally and how the confidence was going to continue to build. I think it's really reached an epitome here in the final stage 13. I say that she brushed a tree, but brushes it off and going very, very well.
Yeah, well, you have to expect in these type of conditions to have a few close calls. If you don't, you're not pushing fast enough. But it can be very, very disconcerting. There are a few, drivers that have grown up with UK rallying and all of that. They will be very, very attuned to, driving in fog or indeed just on the country roads of the UK in winter. Fog are very, very frequent. So we've seen it in real life with notably Richard Burns, just able to be faster than anybody else in the fog, just because he was so attuned to driving that way normally.
Yeah, we quite often get fog here in the UK, and obviously especially in low-lying areas like Hyde, and obviously if you look over to maybe ERC Rally Wales as Punju, another 360 to add to his name and add to his tally for this count, and I wonder if he potentially has some damage. Well, there goes his bonnet, weight saving at least for the Toyota, and Hayden on the simple pace note, so it is just going to tell him left and right, so that could be a bit of a, well, not a hamper, but a good move for himself. He doesn't have to deal with numbers and try and convert them as he goes in his head, and is working so far. Punju again off into the strongest fence in Latvia by the looks of things.
Well, he's lost all of the bodywork on his car before he's lost that crown, so at least there's one thing that's going right. But yeah, that car, and if he needed even more visibility problems, he now can't see out of his windscreen properly. So yeah, going from bad to worse at the moment for Punju. He'll be counting those sectors down without a doubt.
I think he certainly will be. He'll be looking forward to trying to get back to that timing beam. We'll go back to Karakazi. He's on a bit of a home stretch here. He's nearly at the halfway mark of the 16 kilometres and absolutely flying still. You might as well just call him British Airways because he is just taking off in these final few.
Yes, indeed. Well, that's a very good analogy there, to be honest. It's so impressive to see drivers just being able to push the limits and push flat out. Not being necessarily a fan of the super fast rallies, I cannot comprehend even myself how they can, just calculate every single corner perfectly. As yeah, Phil has quite a bit of damage on his car. He's had a huge incident there, as we just saw, and had to repair his tyre as well. So that's a 90-second penalty on the power stage. I think it's safe to say no power stage point, but at this point, can he just get the car to the finish?
I think that's what we'll be hoping for, of course. He can barely see anything, as you can see on his screen at the moment. The trees are appearing out of quite possibly nowhere, but he is still going for it flat out. 106 kilometres or miles an hour. Not quite sure which system he wants to use. Oh, watch the crowd. Another spin. Oh, massive collision there. I am praying for his spine.
Yeah, the massive pinball effects there. That can be the danger of these very narrow stages, is that when something goes wrong, generally it's not the first incident that causes the damage, it's the second one where you hit something a little bit more sturdy afterwards. And I dare say that car is not driving straight anymore, so perhaps some severe damage, if not a puncture there. And having already used his spares, he's off the stage once again, recovering it, just sort of playing with fire, if you can believe it, in all of this snowy condition. But yeah, he's very, very close to the limit even now, and as you can see, it's definitely something going on there, some sort of damage, because the car just snapped away from him right there. And yeah, I think he's just realised he's got no spare tyres left, so he's just going to have to drive this one to the finish.
Yeah, it'll be a limp home for that Toyota GR Yaris Rally 2 in the case of Phil. Everybody else, though, still foot to the floor for the majority of them. Punju, with his crown still firmly on, as he's about to come to the time being Hayden colours as well, will be making it to the end. I think he'll be very happy with the run that he's done. Not necessarily in the first stage, obviously the issues where he thought it was a shakedown, but nonetheless he has got to the end, and that is an achievement in itself. Punju is on two wheels.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in this power stage. You know, people having incidents, but also I want to say Kamikaze going absolutely flat out. This is the drive to just cement his position at the top here. He is not leaving anything to chance. He wants those power stage points. He wants those 30 points, and to be at the top of the leaderboard standing. Look at the commitment into these chicanes. Literally millimeters to spare. There is no second guessing. There's no hesitation on the commitment. Just what a wonderful drive, but also to everybody driving this stage, just wonderful commitment in what is absolutely miserable conditions.
It's been absolutely beautiful to see how all of our creators have done so far. Blondie has come across the line. She's finished off the final stage. I think it was about 191st. Punju and Hayden, both of them up towards the timing beam as well. So we'll see where they finish off in our leaderboards for this afternoon. I think it'll be good times for Punju if he's managed to recover from some of his earlier spins and twists. And Hayden, who's been on a recovery drive for the rest of it as well.
Yeah, front puncture again, I think, for Punju. So just from bad to worse, really. Only 44 seconds off, though, so he's actually still ahead of Hayden, to be fair. But I will say, what a drive from Hayden. Just the difficulty of transitioning between games for a start, and to a completely different driving style and technique, and with a stage that you don't even know, and more than 20 corners to navigate. It is such a tough thing to do, and just congratulations to Hayden for getting through the event with, you know, from what can be considered minimal damage.
Yeah, I think he's managed to recover it rather well. I mean, he'll be very fortunate that obviously a rally car can take a bit more of a beating than his traditional, let's say, chassis or wagon that he can typically put into it. And it can take a beating, but there is obviously a limit where you can't drive them anymore, or you can't abuse them anymore. And he has not quite found that limit yet. I think we'll be pleased with that. Kamikaze, though, mere meters now from that timing beam, surely to cement another power stage win. At the moment, of course, I'm not saying that someone couldn't come along later and beat it out, but 7 minutes and 12.4, he has beaten that by about half a second.
Hayden, get in the bin.
Half a second. It was very close, and I must say, Rally Salika must have kept a set of tires, as amphiptyphalosis is going everywhere but the stage, up on the banks, in the bushes, in the trees, but not on the stage. Finally finding the stage once again. But yeah, a lot of our drivers pushing the limits on this last stage, it must be said. And Vlembar wanting that power stage win. Can he do it?
Well, that's the question. I think if anyone can possibly beat Kamikaze out of our creators here this afternoon, it will be Vlembar. And he's got probably about a third, if not a quarter, of the stage left to go. Very similar lines to Kamikaze through those chicanes, if not maybe a little bit more rear end sliding, but could have carried a little bit more speed as well, as IRC is making their way through, just over halfway through. Let's see how they handle the chicane. Very, very similar. No letting off, and absolutely pure perfection.
Yeah, it's artwork, basically. The driving in these stages, they are so smooth, they are so calm, so collected, that it just looks so easy watching them drive. But I know for a fact that is anything but easy. As you know, our drivers are completing here. Phil, off camera here, is having a nightmare just trying to get back on stage as he's rolled onto his roof. After getting stuck in the ditch. That's possibly the worst thing that could have happened there. And yeah, not only losing time, but adding insult to injury as well.
Yeah, not what he would like to see at all. And it's a real tough one to get it on the power stage, because it really demoralizes you, especially with how long this final stage has been. But he is going to bring that car home. Also, you mentioned earlier that we think he was going to have damage at the start of the stage. So massive congratulations for not only getting the car back to the service area, or riding in some of the ditches and the channels. Can he get out? There we go. Nice. And finally, Vlembar not far, but I think it will be Vil himself that will cross the line next.
Indeed, there is the finish line, or just the corners to go, and across the line. That is quite possibly the you know, you can see the relief just in the face cam there. It's finally done. It's finally over. We're still driving half a car. I think he's got double puncture there on the right hand side. So yeah, that car is second hand for sale. You know, lightly used, like new.
Yeah, I'm keeping an eye on Vlembar though. You can see the end of the stage just up here.
It's going to be a win.
in about 3 seconds. He has done it. He's pipped out Kamikaze. That is his power stage win for Vlembar.
Wow. That is unexpected. I did not expect that. Did Vlembar do the same strategy and keep a set of tires back? I'm saying to do that time probably they kept a set of tires back. But wow, what an opening to the championship with Kamikaze and Vlembar going to and fro, and Vlembar saying, "Nope, I'm going to deny you the 30 points. You will get 29. You'll have to settle for that. But I'm definitely in contention this season as well."
That is incredibly quick from Vlembar. And just a reminder, if you are new to the WRC Creator Series, Vlembar is playing this on controller, which is just mind-boggling. We've known him for seasons now, and I've known him for seasons. It's mental how quick he is on a controller.
It defies belief, doesn't it? I have huge respect for people who can be fast on the wheel, but being on controller with the limited amount of recoverability, I'd say, for lack of better description, is just another level. And just watching him be so smooth, so calm, so concentrated is just peak performance, just true class. And he's one to watch this season. Once again, he was in the running the entire, leading for half of the season last season. So yeah, all to play for, and I'm guessing that it's going to be a long season fight between those two.
I think a couple of the other creators will be able to pip in there as well. I think IRC was 22nd, Ancephalosis 32nd or 33rd. I think we saw Vlembar just going through some of the leaderboards at the end there. So it's going to be an incredibly close season overall over the course of the rounds and the rallies and the twists and the turns that we are going to venture on our travels here this season. We are going to finish it off, round off the broadcast with a chat to Punju, see what we've got in store for the next few weeks as well, and also talk us through his experience in a very snowy, a very chaotic Latvia.
Yes, sir. How's it going, guys? That was really fun. Obviously, the final stage definitely did not go according to plan for me, but very, very fun, very challenging, and everything that I could have asked for a season opener. So I think it was a pretty good one today.
How do you think about that Toyota sponsorship? Do you think it's going to be increased in terms of your performance today?
I mean, I brought nothing but memes, and I think Toyota could use some memes in their socials. So yeah, I think it's in the bag. You know what I mean? In the bag, as in the bag, the trash bag. But that's all right. You know what? It was a good one. It was a very good one today. Very fun.
Right. You chose definitely one of the trickiest combinations that I could possibly think of. So is it a case of trial by fire, and then because everybody's confident after this one, we're going to see some close battles? Where do you think? Do you think we're going to see a lot of close stuff?
We're going to see a lot of close stuff. I mean, honestly, today was still pretty close. Like, Kamikaze just blew everybody away, but outside of that, it was pretty close. There were a lot of stages where there was, maybe like a quarter of a second, half a second gap between like 4 or 5 people at a time. So I think overall it was pretty close. I think the competition was pretty tight. For those that weren't running fog, they obviously had a pretty good inherent advantage. But outside of that, I think it was pretty even, and I'm excited to see what next week brings, because I think we've got nothing but some good rallies ahead of us in Central Europe in the new WRC Rally 1 cars. Is going to be crazy next week.
I think it's certainly going to add a twist and a turn for a few of our creators to try and have to contend with. It won't be the only time that we see the new WRC cars, of course. We'll see them a little bit later on in the season at Rally Japan, and I'm looking forward to that one. Unfortunately, I can't be here next week, so I will have to wait for the new WRC cars to be on show for myself, but it certainly will be a good adventure next time out. And just quickly, before we let you head off and get on with the rest of your evening, what else have we got coming over the course of this season?
We'll be hitting up Poland pretty soon too. I think that's week 3 in the new Junior WRC. Personally, actually, my little hot take is that out of this new update, I think the Junior WRC is like my personal favorite new car. I really like the new Evo. So I'm very excited for Rally Poland. It's jumpy, it's very tight, just like Latvia, but like even tighter, and a little bit more trees. So it's going to be wild. I'm also excited for Scandia, because most people don't run Scandia. It's a relatively unparticipated event because it's such tight, windy, icy roads. So I think it's going to be really fun, really challenging. It's going to bring the best out of some people, especially with the 2017 to 2021 cars. We got a good combo.
I was about to say, you picked the fastest cars for that one. You knew exactly what you were doing.
Yeah, I picked a wild one. I just want to like give something unique, and like the hard part is obviously it's that front downforce flies up into the air kind of car. And so I'm excited to see how people are going to tune that one out so they can try their best to do well with it. It's gonna be intense for sure. I'm very, very excited. And then obviously the finale, the Group A at Oceania is an awesome finale at the very end. So yeah, I'm excited for the season.
Wow, amazing stuff. I'm certainly looking forward to it. It's going to be a good one. We've had over 500 people take part in the rally this week. I think 546 last time I checked. And we're at over 4,300 members in the RaceNet group. We've got an additional 10 this evening, which in itself is lovely to see more people coming in and getting involved. And yeah, Pudgy, thank you so much. A fantastic rally from yourself as always. And I'm sure everyone's looking forward to seeing you back next week.
Thanks, guys. Yes, I'm excited for it.
Thank you so much, dude.
Adios.
What a rally, what a club, and it's been absolutely incredible to see the community get involved as well. So many people coming in and setting lap times. It's so great. It's a very community spirited event. Isa, thank you so much for your expertise, your insight as always that you provide on these shows.
We do our best over here. Not quite the oracle right yet, but we learn as we go along, and one thing in life is you keep learning new facts, and rally is sort of the endless pit of information. The more you dig into it, the more you find out. So every week I'll probably have some new facts. I just wanted to do a quick rundown as well of a few of our creators, because we've seen quite a few crashes, but I just want to emphasize how fast our creators have been driving. So obviously, Kamikaze wins for the moment outright, but we have Vlembar P4 and would have been actually first place if it weren't for that mistake in stage 2. We have Ambient Mike, who drove off of the broadcast this time in P7 overall. Again, massively fast. And if I switch to page 2, we have Ancephalosis. My apologies. Nope, I thought I was going to sneeze. We're good. Ancephalosis P30. And then RCJPH P32. So, although they are making mistakes in terms of overall standings, these drivers are just absolutely on it in terms of pace. Aerotech P37. Just the list is endless. Punju P46. They have been cooking tonight. Let's put it that way.
It's been incredible. So quick to all of our drivers as well. Just fantastic. Isaac, where can people at home check you out if they want to do so just a little bit more?
You can find me at Everything is Amusing, the name down there. And usually you can find either reviews of how to crash better, or how which is the fastest car to crash, stuff like that. Or indeed you can watch me live on Twitch crashing cars as well. The common theme is crashing.
It's a good category to own. Let's put it that way for yourself. If you want to check out any Creator Series socials, they're above our heads. YouTube, Instagram, X or Twitter, and TikTok as well. All of those are at F1 Creator Series. Go check out our producer, Gareth Allen TV. He's been doing all the behind the scenes going. He always tells me off for shouting him out, but I'm going to do it every single time anyway. And for myself, I'm at They Call Me TK. So go give everybody a follow, give us a like on some of the videos as well. That'd be much appreciated. But until we see you next time out on a Monday, because there's no F1 this weekend, it's a break week for our drivers. It is good night and God bless.